can he actually play that out? And actually, can he play a tank? That's what I'm wondering.
We'll see what Holder's going to bring against Zoom in that top lane as we get into Champion Select for Game 2. Rogue Warriors versus JD Gaming. No surprise to see the Aatrox and the Akali banned, as JD Gaming with side selection have chosen red side, saving counterpick. Probably for Zoom. We've seen it happen before, but already Rogue Warriors looks like they're showing us a flex with this Rise.
Because you have to flex. If you want to empower Doinby and Holder here and give them the great matchup if they're on blue side, picking up Rise does a lot. It empowers Kiwi a little bit if you want to have that 2v2 mid lane. You know, get that Rune Prison, maybe stun them up a little bit with the Sejuani, and then you can start firing up in Yagao. Or, we already saw Holder picking up the Rise earlier in the playoffs. You can try and play around bottom lane, bottom side of the map, while he empowers himself in the top side with an island. The only worry is that you can tell it was successful in scrims. That's why they're running it 2 times in a row. First time was unsuccessful.
Gosh, you hope it was successful in scrims if they're bringing it on stage.
Exactly. And so going into the second run of things, they're confident that Holder is willing to play that Rise once again. And so I still believe it's a flex no matter how his performance was the last time we saw him.
And that's where we have to look at how the jungler fits into that equation. Kiwi not going for the Sejuani, but still going for something pretty similar on that Xin Zhao. A lot squishier, but still very straightforward engage to go in. As you can see the Doinby fans in the audience still cheering him on, but that's also very early Urgot, but that still doesn't tell us anything.
Yeah, still can be Urgot going top lane. But what I love already is actually just there's so much gank potential in the top side of the map. In the Urgot lane, we saw how the setup was going to be there. Slow them with the Q, knock them back with the E. Only problem is just a little bit of the execution error coming out of Doinby. He won't let that happen again if he gets the Urgot. So you got to be expecting Kiwi and Doinby to play alongside each other. Even if he picks up the Rise, you're still getting snared with the Rune Prison. So it's going to be on Yagao to understand that and try and take that pressure, hold it.
And look at how the draft has completely flexed around after the results of Game 1. It's jungle, mid, and top from both teams, saving that counter pick for Loken and Lumao, that bottom lane, and SMLZ and Killua. Whereas it's still not telling us anything. Both the Jace and the Aurelia can be flexed between Zoom and Yagao. So now it's JD and Rogue Warriors saying, all right, we know what's happening on the top half of the map. How is bottom going to shake out? Varus is still open, but we've got the Misfortune and the Kaisa. Let's see if Rogue Warriors decide to ban away that Varus to further limit JD's pool. As it's a Lucian ban, JD are focused on just getting a safe lane right now.
Yeah, they are. And I think at JD, I want to see what Lumao ends up picking, because he's the support to watch when it comes to second phase picks. He's played Bard in the past, picked Leona a lot. So I think when it's JDG, what I'm looking at is Lumao willing to pick up a Zillion and try and get a good matchup for himself. Is that the last pick? Are we going to see a Leona, or are we going to see that Vayne from Loken? So JDG are one of the teams that are actually rarely flexible when it comes to their dual lane.
And we'll see if it is a support priority first, as instead JD want to focus on getting the Varus, one of those big hyper carries, but across from him is the sniper of the LPL, SMLZ. He's got a Champion Ocean to try to answer that. Could we be seeing the return of Sivir?
Sivir's an awkward one. You have the spell shield to be able to deal with the arrows coming through from Varus. Even if Varus uses his ultimate, actually, you can deal with that pretty easily. And if you pair that up with a Shen, that just makes your bottom lane incredibly safe. I wonder what JDG are going to do to respond to the support pick.
Looks like Braum, as the timer is ticking down, managing to make it through all of the remaining support bans, as again, both Lumao's Tahm Kench and Alistar were blue side banned by Rogue Warriors. And of course, you've got to ban away that Rakan on either side, just because the flash engage is so very potent. But JD Gaming, when they lock this in, sets themselves up with something a little bit safer to try and deny this. And things are looking pretty good for JD in that bottom lane as the fans in the audience try to cheer them on.
So it wasn't anything shocking, surprising. What it was is just, we want to know what bottom lane we're dealing with so we can play around our bottom lane. And what they got was Braum and Varus. Actually a lot of setup here. So if Clid wants to go bottom lane, he has a lot to work with. We've seen a lot of level 2 ganks work with the Braum because he can actually just flash and Q. So it's an expectation that can be had. And if they just want to play through Zoom, he's on the Jace. you can just say, okay, fine, we'll play topside, and you guys keep yourself safe, because there's a lot of slows there with the hail of arrows, and just from the ultimate from Braum. So they're safe, but they can also start a lot of fights.
So the big question that we had for Rogue Warriors was, what style do they go towards coming into this game 2? Will they try to get scrappy and dirty, looking for big fights and just trying to embrace the chaos, take it down to the 50-50 coin flip? Or do they play it slow, play it for team fights, play it for the long game? What are we looking at, Raz?
Yeah, right now we're seeing what is early, scrappy from Rogue Warriors. I expect Kiwi to actually be super active early in the top set of the map. He should be. Early on the Scuttle Crabs, he should be challenging the Gragas. Gragas shouldn't find any openings. Going towards mid lane, Rune Prison's there. Duanbe is going to be calling for you. And if you have an opportunity, Urgot is very strong for Holder. So what I'd like to see is definitely a much more early game focus coming in from Rogue Warriors.
Well, Clid did a great job of tracking Flawless in game 1. Now he's got an entirely different jungler to worry about. Can he do it again in this game 2 to deny that scrappiness and buy some time for JD Gaming to scale up with their own big carries and look for their own big set plays? We'll have to see if Rogue Warriors can find the openings and play around the very dedicated and determined vision of JD Gaming. As we've said, the fire for Rogue Warriors has been missing since their loss to RNG just a few days ago. Is this the game that reignites the spark and brings the flame of Rogue Warriors to even this matchup out?
Their team, it's not easy to stop them. It's not easy to make them feel, dampen in emotion. They'll come and fight back. So for Rogue Warriors, I'm expecting a long one. I don't think it's going to go to 3-0. I'm expecting Rogue Warriors to even this one up, because they're a team that will actually take a loss incredibly well as they're going into this game.
And now we've loaded onto the Rift. It's time to hear from the fans and see who they think will take this game 2 between Rogue Warriors and JD Gaming.
Feels like a handicap match. 2v1. Rogue Warriors got 2 people starting to cheer versus the one of
You got to equalize it.
You do.
And I believe in the player cam, the call-outs for Rogue Warriors, the guy was standing directly adjacent, next to the manager of JingDong. He's the guy who does the calls for JD. So, I believe that's why we saw them chuckling as the Rogue Warrior guys just got in there just a little bit faster. Got to get that call out first. Because that power, that fan vote is still so important to show that you're cheering on these teams. As we load onto the Rift for this game 2 already, we can see Duanbe trying to control this mid lane on the rise and trying to keep Yagao away from minions as SMLZ and Killua springboard Kiwi with a leash.
This is interesting from Kiwi, because getting red buff and going straight top lane, so usually you'd see a full red side clear so you can get the most bang for your buck from the Krug camp. Gragas is going to do just that. But for Kiwi, taking just the red buff and being on the top side early means that an early gank is possible on the top side of the map. He's going to have Skull control really early on. It might be needed because Holder's getting it.
Yeah, this is Zoom absolutely putting the hurt onto Holder. Now, Unsealed Spellbook and Teleport as Zoom just goes in and just continues to bat him away. Remember, there's a ward in the river on both sides of Kiwi. If he steps into mid lane, it will be spotted. If he steps top lane, it will be spotted. There's a Ghost Poro at the red buff that would spot him. And even Clid is on this side of the map clearing out his own jungle camps. It seems as though JD were able to accurately identify not only where Kiwi was, but where he could go, what could be at risk. And that's giving Zoom an excellent time in the top lane.
Yeah, and I think being topside is the right call for Clay, just to be able to protect him. Because remember, Urgot may be, lower range, not going to be able to match with the damage that Jace has to offer, but is a great gank setup. And so as long as Kiwi finds a way in the top side, all you really need is use your E, get a jump on Jace, changes the matchup entirely. So it's a nice defensive presence coming in from the top side for Clay.
And Kiwi, without a lane to gank, instead just takes top scuttle, heads over to blue, and then heads on down to bottom scuttle to try and track Clid instead of looking for the lane itself. But Yagao just getting a bit of damage onto Duanbe. Looking to poke him through as Room Prison locks Yagao down in the lane, and that's the difference, I think, that we see. Flawless was not able to affect his lanes early, whereas Kiwi is already doing everything he can to try and fulfill that void.
And he's not, afraid of just helping Doinbi get the push off. Doinbi wants to be able to base, get his early items. Usually people don't get the first base to get the tier going for themselves because Corrupting Potion is the starting point. But because he had no mana, the fear there was that Yagao was going to be able to freeze under that turret. So recognizing that he wanted to get a full shove in to reset works very well for Doinbi.
And that's actually a strategy that we've seen Clid utilize a handful of times, even in this series, helping to push waves after a gank, after a lane trade, to make sure that your laner has a favorable setup. That we're seeing Kiwi do the same for Doinbi means that perhaps Rogue Warriors are trying to step up in this match to try to meet the aggression from JD, at least from that game one. But already things are looking a little bit more different, a little bit more passive during this laning phase. No early excitement, as just about all of the lanes are going even.
It's to be expected, honestly, and the moment Kiwi got pushed away from the top lane. Perhaps you'll see something around mid lane, but at this point, Kiwi's feeling fairly comfortable with how Doinbi's doing in lane. So at the moment, as it stands, the only point of aggression you'll be seeing out of Rogue Warriors is if Kiwi had timed the enemy Raptor camp to be able to try and contest it. He's in position clearing out the wards. He should be here because the pressure should be coming in from Doinbi in this pushing lane.
Not only is it Doinbi, but also Holder is trying to get a push up top. As recall completed from Zoom, he immediately teleports back in. But Raptor's not on the docket quite yet. Looks like it's another Krug take from Clid as he's just keeping control over this side of the jungle. You can even see Kiwi setting up a ward for this next Raptor camp. Everybody's got their eyes on the prize.
Should be coming up in about 20 seconds at this point, so Kiwi's here for a reason. If he gets pushed out to his own Raptor, oh my god.
That was a bit overzealous from Yagao.
At this point, Kiwi still has his own Raptor, so he can still be hovering around the mid lane. Clid's going to get called over. He knows that Kiwi just ain't stopping.
Now, Clid might have been able to sneak under the vision there.
Oh!
As Flash engage into the bottom lane. Killua uses the Spirit's Refuge. Loken backs it up. That's heal and cleanse utilized. Kiwi's bottom. Lumao goes down. SMLZ finds first blood.
Nice 2v2 kill from Rogue Warriors. It was just a taunt flash coming in from Killua that does the job. So that was just really well done. Right on top of Loken. He has to blow cleanse, but that just brings in Lumao to help him out. So he ends up taking it.
And just the raw calculation from SMLZ and Killua, the number counting to make sure they've got enough damage to focus down Lumao. They find Loken, but that's not the real target.
And they just go straight for it because Lumao actually used his Q really early on. And so they recognize that he's not going to be able to punch them back. Flashes to follow him up. Strong play from SMLZ to follow forward. Killua and SMLZ are not usually known for their laning phase. They come in a little bit later on. They just try and use laning phase to just farm it up. But that was just phenomenal, getting the 2v2 kill.
And SMLZ with the auto and reset, auto ricochet for the quick double tap after the flash before Lumao can get out of there. Finds himself with first blood. That's a BF sword on first by Sivir, which is something she's going to be very happy to have. But now we can see a fight going over for JD. They're trying to set up around this red buff, but Killua is there to defend Kiwi.
Yeah, Killua's going to be doing a good job here. I think right now Rogue Warrior should be in a very comfortable position. Getting your first item as a BF sword is going to empower her push, empower her ricochet. Hope Doinbi keeps himself safe here. If he gets picked off, then it's going to be a struggle for the rest of Rogue Warriors to play towards bottom lane.
Doinbi's still walking up to Yagao to try and zone him away as SMLZ and Killua are disappearing from that bottom lane. The door denies that pizza delivery, slams the door in the delivery man's face. I didn't order a pizza.
Get this.
There's pineapple on this thing. Boom. Slam that door.
I think there's pineapple on this one. I mean, whenever you see the chromas, it actually has different types of pizzas. So we're going to get a chance. I saw some pepperoni on that one.
Very well could. But Rogue Warriors, I would like to point out what just happened. Doinbi forced the recall onto Yagao. There was the Raptor setup from Rogue Warriors that we were talking about a moment earlier. Clid took the Raptor camp, but because Yagao had already been pushed away and recalled, that meant that there was no one there to defend him. He was forced to body slam over the wall because Doinbi stepped under the mid-tier 1 and zoned him out, which meant that Kiwi could take the red buff of JD Gaming.
And if there had been a full committal on that side, remember that both SMLZ and Killua were actually roaming up and pushed Lumao completely out of the river bot side. So they would clearly be in position for a fight if there was ever a skirmish to take place. So I'm actually really liking what Rogue Warriors are doing. We don't usually see Rogue Warriors bottom lane plugged into the mid lane play. It's been happening. Oh, wait a second.
Yagao and Clid hopping over the wall. Level 6 for Clid. Killua has been spotted, but there's Thrill of the Hunt. The flash, the body slam. Remember, no spell shield as it was used earlier. Slow. And the stun over the wall. Spirit's Refuge, Vanguard's Edge, and Yagao gets the kill. 1 for 1 as JD set up a 4-man dive bottom.
They were so close, Dom. They were out of there. They were so close to finding themselves the second-tier turret, but you were right. No spell shield there for SMLZ, so he finds himself as the victim to the play.
And that's, again, JD Gaming using the resources available to them to take more than you would normally expect. But Rogue Warriors trying to do the same thing. They're looking for Zoom. Double flash, he uses his own acceleration gate, and the transform gets him enough movement speed to survive. Now, could we be seeing a race for the turret? It looks like yes, but no. Killua tries to defend it, and Loken gets himself a solo kill and first brick while JD are turning onto the Dragon.
They're literally getting everything. Bottom lane tower, kill, and the Infernal Dragon. JD are cashing out.
Oh, man. Raz, I don't think the casino has enough money. If JD are cashing out, they're coming in with chips that Rogue Warriors just cannot provide.
Yeah, they're definitely under suspicion of bringing outside chips.
Exactly.
At this point, they're definitely never coming back to this casino again. For Rogue Warriors to come out, and honestly, I like the response from Doinby and Kiwi to come topside. They had used the rune. Okay, they used the Realm Warp pretty early, so just take a second look at this because we didn't get to see it initially. Killua trying to stop Loken, recognizing that Loken was here alone. But just way too much damage here from Loken. Even finishes it off with the Cutlass.
Yeah, that Blade of the Ruined King now finished off to match the Storm Razors for SMLZ. Things are looking very good for JD Gaming. They've broken bottom tier 1 and now gotten the faster recall as they're 1,800 gold ahead. Top tier 1 is still standing. Over the duration of that replay, Rogue Warriors were not able to take it. Things might be slowed down for this landing phase.
That's the issue here, is that it was Rogue Warriors trying to hunt for the kill on towards Jace. They recognized Jace had understood the play was happening really early on, so they tried to use the Realm Warp much earlier. Issue was, Doinby was so close to being able to get the Rune Prison off. Had the Rune Prison had been able to get off, they would have been able to get the kill on towards Zoom. It was just a hair's distance, honestly.
Hair's breadth.
Yeah.
Or the bread of a hair.
The bread of a hair.
Yeah.
I like that
Don't
one.
think about it too hard.
That's my favorite one.
Now they're setting up top. They've engaged in the lane swap, but Kiwi hovering around the mid lane, immediately Vanguard's edge, but that's Stand United, the cast. They're still trying to take this fight. Clitus in the front, Yagao back over. He's managed to find some good damage, Spirit's Refuge, but Yagao with the snipe. Now Holder teleporting in, looking for some action. Zoom will follow up. Disdain flings Yagao back forward, but he's still doing some damage. They're about to get the stun. They land it. Loken joins the fight. Piercing arrow. It's double stopwatch to try and stall this. As you can see, the coaching staff for JD. It's a golf clap because this is just another day in the office for this team.
I think it needs more than just a golf clap. What the hell is happening in the back? But that was so well played from JDG. Zoom comes in with the roam later on. I was like, okay, I think at least a few members will be getting out of that one from Rogue Warriors. But then here comes Loken, the ultimate to set them down. Really well played because it starts off on a pick onto Yagao, actually. Because Yagao tries to go in alone, but he has to flash over the wall. And so it starts looking even out. But JDG come in so quickly. Zoom comes in much faster to actually protect Yagao in this situation, so Holder has to hold it as he's exhausted. So at this point in time, just the response time. Unbelievable, honestly. At this point,
It's so tough because it's tough with a loss for words. Lumouth finds a stun onto 3 people, then lands the knockup.
I'm just saying, the response time was so quickly that I want them protecting my neighborhood. If anything were to happen, a burglary, if I just get mugged at this point, they're just going to be everywhere.
Even a cat stuck in a tree,
100%.
JD Gaming would bring in like a fire truck, the attack helicopter. They would bring everything that they need to make sure that cat is safe. Very safe neighborhoods around JD Gaming. Now they're even looking for this Rift Herald as mid-tier 1 was taken again over the duration of that replay. It's not just one thing. It's not just one kill for JD. It's a kill and then some. As there's nothing Rogue Warriors can do to contest this. They're trying to hop over the wall. No, Killua. Shadow Dash gets him out safely, but that's Rift Herald picked up by Clid.
Just wanted to contest the ward up top. You know, all he wanted to do is just get a little bit of an opening in there. But you can see that JDG are moving at all times. Rogue Warriors are trying to deal with the waves in the adjacent lanes in mid and top lane. But by the time they've already cleared it out, you already hear the screech of the Rift Herald.
And again, it seems like Rogue Warriors aren't respecting the goalpost of JD, the team that is constantly moving it forward. We don't just want the kill, we want the turret. We want the Rift Herald. We want to push top. Rogue Warriors aren't predicting where that goalpost is going to be, so they're constantly getting surprised when JD appear as 5, take these fights, and force them out of position.
And the key point to all of this is actually just because they set up so far in advance. Take a look at the control wards already being placed in the blue side jungle here for JDG. So, sure, Kiwi was actually taking blue buff, but he can't take any more camps there unless if he's under threat. At this point, they just have to constantly try and defend the objectives that are up and available. Top lane outer turret is going to be one of them. That if they stick around too long or not in the right place at the right time, then JDG just come in with more members because they have not been sending anyone to the bottom lane.
And right now, Rogue Warriors are saying, are you crazy? You can't break this turret. We have a Sivir. And JD is saying, well, we have a Rift Herald. And they just walk it right up to the turret, even in between the minion waves to get these auto attack. Klid is acting as a Hulk himself to force SMLZ back. And yes, Sivir has plenty of wave clear, but without the team of Rogue Warriors there to defend it and get away from this vision, it's just going to keep getting chipped down.
And remember, the other thing is just big bodies, too. They just have a lot of tanks that just walk up at you. So mid-range Sivir, sure, you can try and clear out the wave, but if you go stick your neck out there, they're going to engage on you. They've been diving so frequently. Here comes the
Vanguard's edge. Yagao forces the engage. Holder sets up for a dive. A stun under 3. The cask under the turret. Yagao is still alive in the back. A Realm Warp chases him down. Finally, he will die as Doinby trades his life back over, but Loken again joins the fight. Rogue Warriors were desperate to find something, to find anything, but it's way too much, and they lose everything.
Get completely cleared out. Lu Mao did such a good job just holding the door down so they can go front to back. There is absolutely no way, just because, I mean, Holder walking up forward didn't even get the chance to use his own exhaust there. It's going to be a big payoff for JD.
That's the mid-tier 2, the middle inhibitor turret. 16 minutes in, down to the Rift Herald. Shelly, is she going to go for a second charge? Killua tries to go for the eye. Oh, the melee headbutt. What is that, the 1-inch punch from Shelly to get some massive damage onto the turret, and the bottom tier 2 is being pushed in. But you know what's still doing great? SMLZ held the top tier 1.
Oh, there we go. There's always something, a light at the end of the tunnel. But take a look at this, because that was a great cast coming through, and the Braum door was even better. Holder was trying to get the execute, but actually had to stick his neck out for it. So he's in such a bad situation, and the Braum passive was actually just stacking up on top of him. So for the frontliners of Rogue Warriors, they're just getting blown up immediately just because Braum tags you, and the rest of them follow up.
And what a world it could be if Rogue Warriors, they already banned away the Alistar, they banned away the Tahm Kench. If they also need to ban the Alistar and just triple ban support to keep Lu Mao out of these fights, because he is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. But finally, Rogue Warriors are on the board. Top tier 1 is down. They get themselves a turret. But JD Gaming, again, they've moved that goalpost ahead. They're taking the Cloud Dragon. Looks like they're even setting up vision around the bottom to make sure there's no chance of a contest from RW.
And they recognize that the pressure is bot side, so Holder actually just has to be at his own tower. He's trying to realize, or at least recognize, what he can take. Maybe he can chip out the Raptor camp at this time, but he's just under threat. He's way too close to the JD comp.
And that's such an accurate way to put it. Our Rogue Warriors are just constantly under threat because JD Gaming have shown that they are willing to take a fight at the drop of a hat. If you show even the faintest sign of aggression into their jungle, into their lane, onto their turret, they will fight you tooth and nail for it. And now they're maneuvering around this bottom tier 2. Holder clears the wave out, but this is against an Aurelia Jace siege.
Yeah, they need more members here. You can already see they're pulling in Doinby because there's so much control in this red side jungle. Control wards being placed here by JD. You just don't know how many members are there.
Now Loken is on the way. Winter's Bite hits Killua, but without Loken there, the push isn't too successful during this wave. And we have to mention JD, they've got themselves a very strong mid-game composition. That Jace, though, could end up scaling off into the late game if Rogue Warriors can stall it out. But they need to be able to draw the line somewhere so that they can stall this game out.
Yeah, it's very difficult. With the mid-range that Rogue Warriors have, they're getting poked out by the Varus and the lethality build that you're seeing from the Jace. So currently, JDG are just poking. Sieging, poking, you're gonna have to deal with them. Sure, you can scale off there, but it just means that Rogue Warriors need to find that one team fight. And this is not happening.
Rogue Warriors are denying every single team fight that, JD are denying every single team fight that RW are looking for. 2,100 gold lead for Loken in the mid lane. It's only a 300 gold lead for Yagao. But in the top lane, it's another 2,200 advantage for Zoom. All of these carries are doing work. Chains of Corruption does miss, but they're still trying to force the engage. Flash knockup. Doinby sidesteps with the target is Kiwi. Still holding onto the Crescent Slash as they've managed to find Clid on the side. He goes down, and suddenly this could be looking dangerous. Yagao trying to get back into this. Holder steps up too far, but the CC chain is real, and he finds the kill. Realm Warp to get out of this. Vanguard's edge. They found Doinby. They've separated him from his own portal, and they find themselves another kill.
Great Vanguard's edge to just push him off at that point. Doinby needed to get off the portal. He was actually just losing a lot of HP, but by doing so, seals his fate. I mean, he was so close to having his flash up. If the play actually happened about 10 seconds later, he would have been able to get out of there scot-free, but that's just not the case.
And while Baron hasn't spawned, JD have already set their eyes on the next target. The top tier 1 was pushed in through a side wave while all of that was happening. Bottom is pushing in for JD Gaming. Blue buff has been denied. Constantly, they take one thing then the next, but here's the first sign of them perhaps going a little bit too hard.
Hard fight here for JDG because they lose so many of their engage points, so that's why Clid just goes down immediately. But Yagao comes in, and that changes everything. Because Braum passive stacks up on Holder, it's immediate execution. Kiwi, Doinby doesn't have much HP. Doinby tries to find a way back into his own portal, but by doing so, incredibly difficult because Aurelia is already on him. So it's just a tough call. Someone had to die in that situation, and it was Doinby at that point.
Trying so hard to stay alive. I believe that was the first major mistake that we've seen from JD Gaming so far in this entire series in 47 minutes of gameplay. Clid getting caught out, missing the barrel cast onto Doinby to knock him fully into the team. So maybe the opening is still there for Rogue Warriors.
It's a big maybe. I think for Rogue Warriors, it's trying to buy for the time. Rapid Fire Cannon being built up by SMLZ means it's a little bit easier to wave clear. They just need to force JDG away from the Baron buff. As long as the Baron buff minions aren't crashing onto their tower, they're in a good spot to wait until SMLZ gets Infinity Edge.
Clid is hunting him down, but Killua was actually the target. Good Shadow Dash over the wall, but Loken still firing, will not be stopped. Come rain, sun, or whatever weather, he's just going to keep going.
Yeah, it's a bad news bears right there. No Killua means that should be a good fight. Already being started on the Baron buff, JD.
Blue Trinket spots this out. Teleport from the backside. It's Holder trying to get in. He's got no flash, but Baron at 4,000 health. Lucan and Clid set to finish it off. Wall keeping SMLZ out of this is Lumao and Lumao and Yagao are doing some work. Holder trying to back out, but Zoom turns onto him. Baron finished off, but there's nobody to follow up onto Holder, and he's now dead. Rogue Warriors, they needed to go in or back away. They stayed too long, and they paid the price.
Yeah, there was confusion there. Once Kiwi lost about 60% of his HP, because realistically at that point, you walk away. But Holder's already committed there. Maybe they can find some poke. There was just so many maybes at that point. JDG were just so decisive of being able to pick him off.
And even though Loken's not there, 4 members of JD are still able to break down the top tier 2 turret. Looking at the inhib now. That's Sivir trying to get up, but
they're in.
That's the engage. Kiwi gets teleported in through that Realm Warp, right on in. The cask knocks Killua back forward. He goes low again. Loken is almost on the way as another Shock Blast splits the wickets. And still Loken is continuing to push at full health. They haven't even completed a base yet, but they're still looking for the inhibitor turret. Remember, mid was taken by Shelly earlier. Chains of Corruption, they found Doinby. He is dead. SMLZ with no mana can't get the wave clear, and it looks like JD, they're trying to close this game out with the Baron buff as the death timers could be too high.
2 waves crashing in at the same damn time. Rogue Warriors got to do something or they lose now.
Teleport Zoom is getting in. Lumao is low. Loken still firing across, and they manage to get a Fear Beyond Death. Finally, that's one, but Loken is unstoppable. Zoom with it. Fresh Youmu's and Duskblade is finishing it off. SMLZ is firing, but cannot get enough. And in a faster game 2, JD Gaming get the revenge they so desperately desire.
I've got some bad news for Rogue Warriors. JD is woke. I mean, they right now, they're in a position where they're about to 3-0 Rogue Warriors cleanly. Clean play, playing around Clid super early on. It's just so hard because at this point, it's not as if they're giving away the early game based off their composition. This is an early game combative Rogue Warriors. They're just getting completely denied on the top side.
And you saw Doinby's face in that loss. He is not happy about how things are going for Rogue Warriors because JD Gaming just look like a completely different team.
Yeah, they look different, feel different. If I was in Beijing, they probably smell different.
Probably some smell different as well.
But that being said, we talked about Rogue Warriors being a momentum-based team, an emotional team, let's look at what the playoff gauntlet actually is. It's a gauntlet. Playing series after series. The only series that they played was up against RNG, but that was very much just like a few days ago. And losing in the fashion that they did, now losing in the fashion that they are, they need to be able to get out of that rut because they weren't able to in Spring Split. It took them some time to find themselves back in it.
Yeah, this is not a rut you can afford to be in for Rogue Warriors if you want to try to get Worlds, if you want to lock down that seed, because it's one best of 5. Only 3 Nexus explosions separate you and the final Worlds ticket. And one of the teams that they could very well go up against is JD Gaming, who look like they have got the fire. I don't know what's going on. They've got like some leech seed. They are pulling the energy from Rogue Warriors and converting it.
They're battle hard.
It really is.
Because this was a very long gauntlet for JD. And remember, this all started in round 1 when they took down FPX.
Yeah.
Moved on to the next one when they were in the next round versus EDG. So this team has been learning throughout the playoff bracket because they have a lot of games to play, and now it just feels like there's just no stopping them.
Yeah, even in these fights that we see, which normally are Rogue Warriors' strengths, the trades are just never worth it. It looks like Yagao gets caught when he tries to force a fight, but JD collapsed so quickly. Look at the minimap, how Loken and Zoom are just booking it to the mid lane.
Immediately in there. I made that joke about the community because it really felt like everybody had each other's back there. Zoom coming in and Loken, the final touch with the ultimate there. So they can be able to just get 2 people. And I just love the fact that they added in the golf claps, because at this point, why not? Why not just the Kappa claps in there?
Exactly.
Because at this point, JDG are so handily taking the fights because they have such good control of their side lanes that Rogue Warriors, they feel steps behind because they're a team fighting team, but they're not a team that actually sets up for the objective well. That the setup for the fight for Rogue Warriors is not as good as KT that they learned when they were in Rift Rivals. And so that's something they had to learn very slowly, but JD are fast learners, and this is the culmination of that.
And we've got another fight for you, which that previous one was a 1 for 3. They traded a death, I believe, onto Yagao. This is even worse. This is a 1 for 4, and this is Rogue Warriors initiating the play. They wanted this dive. They brought 4 people, and they still end up going down as JD again collapsed from every conceivable direction.
Because it looks like an easy pick for Rogue Warriors. They had Yagao at blinking HP bars. This one person just blowing it. Just tip him over.
Just ignite something. Kill him.
Anything. But, of course, Bromdor comes in. Lumao and team fights have been inspirational. So I felt like JD individually have been able to make it work in these team fights.
Yeah, and it's really been working for them. Yagao, despite going down in that last replay, takes our MVP for his Aurelia performance, surviving the laning phase against rookies Doinby's Rise. Sorry, rookies Doinby. Doinby's Rise, and then going 3-1-10 off the back of it.
And there we have it. I mean, he did so well in this game. 3-1-10, of course. There's a lot of it just, I feel like you look at the man of the match, and I feel like it should be a team of the match. It's a little bit hard to coordinate that for the production side.
Yeah.
But the team really did rally around the mid lane fights. There were so many of them. There were times where he was picked up, but he was able to get repositioned so consistently. So team fights matter in this series, 100%. I thought it would be much closer. But the problem is Rogue Warriors just don't have the necessary members, because you already talked about how SMLZ is in the opposite side of the map trying to get a tower. Yeah. Because they think that the small skirmish is enough. But it isn't, because too many people are showing up here from JD.
Yeah, JD Gaming with that momentum close out Game 2. We've still got Game 3 coming at you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. The LPL will be right back.